Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here with a flip through of my latest Christmas themed journal today. This is an elf's guide to the magic of Santa, and it's a design team project for the Junk Journal Studio. I've used a couple of her kits in here, bits from the Old Fashioned Christmas and also like her Christmas Wonder Mega Pack, I think it's called. I will link it down below in the description box. Anyhow, this journal is 9.5 inches by 6 with a 1 3/4 inch spine, 4 signatures, 152 pages. And if you're seeing this video, that means that this journal has been placed in my shop. First it goes to Patreon, then it goes to my shop. So, all linked below, of course. So this is a really fun book. I made this inside of a really nice vintage green, sort of forest green covered book. I've used, so there are the Junk Journal Studios page digitals in here, as well as a bit from 49 and Market and Carabel Studios. Those are the papers. And so I've also used this lovely vintage Santa kind of book to make a lot of the ephemera, including this lovely elf. So on the front we have this elf holding a deer. He's kind of your guide into the book, and this is a nice metal journal label. On the spine I have sewn on and frayed some fun Christmas fabric, and on the back we have a few touches of gold just for a little extra magic. Nice tabs down the side here, and metal eyelets with seam binding to close the whole book. So let's jump in. So the end papers are these fun kind of rustic feeling green tile sort of papers, and we have a little elf here waiting to guide us into the book, and inside is a large journal card from the book cover of the book that I used for a lot of the elements. This is a big winking Santa, and then I included for fun just a couple of vintage Coca-Cola Company Santa playing cards. So you could back those and turn them into journal cards, but I left them as is because I know that some folks actually just collect playing cards, especially Christmas or Coca-Cola ones, so they're in there. Then we have this fun paper here with a pocket that I collage with this Santa. He's sort of welcoming you on in. And then we have some elves here. The elves help Santa go over the Christmas list for a last minute check. And there's lots of legends and kind of Santa practices. This is sort of Santa all year long, not just at Christmas. So we have a tuck spot of the gnomes all around Mrs. Claus. She's reading fairy tales to them. And then this is about the night that they get ready to get the reindeer all hitched up. So the reins are vital to a successful Christmas trip. The elves make sure they have no kinks or nicks in them. By the day before Christmas, the sleigh is already all loaded and ready, but still Santa needs to check it all out. He checks the toys in the bag to make sure they're packed tightly. He makes sure they're arranged according to city and country to match Mouse Robert's list, because there's a mouse named Mouse Robert who is the one who organizes the gifts that everyone gets. He double checks the reins to be sure they're not going to chafe the reindeer, and you'll see Mouse Robert later on in this book. This is some of my dyed paper with a fabric tab. Here's the first of the lovely pages from the Junk Journal Studio, the beautiful Christmas number, the Christmas book in itself. It's really pretty. And another of her background pages. Then we have this little pocket here of Christmas shoppers with a tab. And then in here, this is after Christmas. After the Christmas trip, Santa needs days of recuperation. During that period, the elves are even nicer than usual. So they're all there, getting him a hot cocoa and getting him all cozied in. And then over here we have a nice little card from the Junk Journal Studio as well, from the Christmas Ephemera Mega Pack. And then this little bob up here, this was cut from a book. It's on parchment paper. And another page from the Junk Journal Studio with this little Christmas reindeer and a nice background as well. This St. Nicholas label is also from the kit, and then I've made this tuck spot here with this illustration of Santa, and back here you'll see this little cluster. It says the steps to making a train. So this book explains how Santa is not just Santa, but also he's an inventor. So, the special things that he delivers to children, a lot of them he's hand building them with the elves, right? And he's inventing things. And so this is some of his contraption here to build an electric train. And then we have a little tuck spot of the elves here having some of their, having a meal. And there's a few tuck spots like that on this fun snowflake paper. And this is brown stationery of Santa just looking over all of the letters that he was sent by the children. So lots of writing space there. And then some of my dyed paper with a nice fabric tab in gold. This is a page from Junk Journal Studio. And then a little paper ruffle here. More dyed paper. Another tuck spot of their meal here. And the snowflakes. And then this is a page from the original book. So this is like on a night when Santa actually got lost one year and the elves were out looking for him. There was a thunderstorm. The elves and sled dogs searched for 2 days to find Santa and his sleigh. But it was pretty hard to see the white Santa in the midst of the white snow. Spoiler alert, they found him. Don't worry. Okay, and then over here we have the elves being very silly playing leapfrog. Leapfrog can be great fun if the frogs are large enough. And then this is just kind of a page of like play at the North Pole. So here's Santa and Mrs. Claus. They're hopscotching. The taw they use in hopscotch is a candy cane. The winner of the round gets to eat it. And I just remembered the thing that you throw, like the stone in hopscotch, is called a taw. I do remember that from when I was a kid. But they use a candy cane, which is arguably much more fun. So this is from the Junk Journal Studio, both pages. Some parchment. This is green 49 and market paper. And here we have Rudolph. And then this little journal card, the brightness of Rudolph's nose. Rudolph's nose is truly a scientific wonder. Before he got struck by lightning twice, both times in mid-air, theoretical researchers hypothesized that such an occurrence would cause the nose to shine, but not until Rudolph did the theory become fact. It's difficult to measure the brilliance of such a light, but through careful testing I was able to determine that Rudolph's nose is more than 35 million candle powers bright. Fortunately, he has learned how to control the glow, so that normally you can't even tell it's shining at all. This is another page from Junk Journal Studio. Beautiful St. Nicholas. And then one of my dyed papers with this little eyeletted tab. A little pocket with an elf here. And then in here we have this little booklet for writing. And this is all about Santa coming down the chimney, the steps. First, he comes down the chimney, or he gets into the house however he can. One sly homeowner saw him entering through the drain pipe. Next, he rushes to the tree and leaves the gifts. He gulps down the snack left for him or stuffs it into his vest to eat it later, and then he rises back up the chimney, his finger placed delicately on the side of his nose. And there's a bit more writing there about like his general behavior when he's delivering presents. So here we have Mouse Robert going over the list. And also sometimes Mouse Robert takes these present requests on the phone. So here he is at the North Pole on the phone, and that's a journal card. And over here, this is just tucked on with a rusty paper clip on a beautiful page from the Junk Journal Studio. And this is Mrs. Santa's home remedies. So Santa refers to Mrs. Claus as his secret weapon. She gets him through all sorts of things. She takes care of him. And these are some different like home remedies for hiccups, for body odor, which is an issue that elves are known to have. And yeah, so she's got all of these different antler itch, all sorts of remedies for the North Pole. And then another page from Junk Journal Studio. And then we have this tuck spot here of Santa and Mrs. Claus hugging. You know you're loved when Mrs. Santa gives you a hug. Santa said to me, and I get lots of them. And then we have Santa carrying an elf in his bare feet in the snow. So they're just one big family in the North Pole. And then we have Santa sort of scooting away with some presents. That's a little, I think, Caramel Studio paper. And this is another page of an elf doing a little bit of archery. So again, this is the North Pole year round. So you're going to see some different things than just on Christmas. Some of my dyed paper with this elfy fabric here, tab. Another page from the Junk Journal Studio with this beautiful cardinal in its nest and poinsettias. And then some holly and ivy and ribbon. A little tab on this hand-dyed paper. This is Merry Christmas, and it's a sort of a vintage ornament kind of theme. This all, I believe, is Caramel Studio. And this is another brown-backed piece of stationery. And this is the elves, you know, they're coming in with all these, like, shish kebabs. And we've still got Santa and Mrs. Claus in bed. And then here we have this elf who looks like he's a little unkempt. It's first thing in the morning. So when Santa first met the elves, he had to really kind of, with Mrs. Claus, they had to really kind of culture them to be, you know, sort of house trained. They were quite wild. Elf hair is tough and resilient. Like everything else elvish, clipped hair has a secondary use. It is woven together to make elvish clothing. Of course, the elves also wear cotton and wool, but those aren't nearly as comfortable as as durable as elf hair. Because elf hair is in rare supply, some articles of clothing take years to make. And then we have a finished tunic for a young elf and some elf hair being shown on this journal card. So just so much fun lore in this book. I really enjoyed making it. And then another dyed paper with this fun Christmas tab. Another page from the Junk Journal Studio. Beautiful. Love this sweet Santa Claus. The tree is really nice too. And then another of my hand-dyed pages. And here we have Santa with his finger on the side of his nose. Santa uses the 12th word to rise up chimneys. So this is all about just different the 12 magic words that are used by Santa and what they mean. And the 12th one they're talking about is huppy, huppy, ho, ho, ho. It must be said with a broad smile and with the finger on the side of the nose. Works to make an elf go up into the air. The elves taught this spell to Santa to enable him to go up chimneys. So the magic that Santa has actually came from the elves. So these are all elvish kind of sayings and words and what they mean. And then we have Merry and Bright here and Santa looking down a chimney. And this is a fun one. What happens to non-believers? So this is like the before and after of a non-believer. Full head of hair, going bald, laugh wrinkles around the eyes dull and lifeless, and it kind of goes on. It's very fun. And then we have more of my dyed paper with a little tab here. These little tabs, they all have numbers on them. It's kind of like an advent page. And another page from the Junk Journal Studio. Little birds there in the window. And more of my hand-dyed paper. This is a 49 Market page in Caramel Studios. We've got little Christmas trees and cars. They're driving home. And then we get more into the magic of Rudolph. So Rudolph is now the most prominent of all the deer. Here he's shown wearing his Elf Medal of Honor, awarded after he saved everyone at the North Pole. It's a big journal tag. And another page from the Junk Journal Studio. And then here we have Santa sitting in his chair reading the paper with his big giant cookie pot that he has. And a little cluster back here that says Mrs. Santa puts her cookies in the world's largest cookie jar, which was designed especially for Santa. He likes to munch on them while he reads on quiet evenings. He can go through all the cookies in the jar, approximately 1,029, in less than a week. And then this is a recipe for Mrs. Santa's oatmeal chocolate chip nut cookies. And then we have Santa up here just kind of waiting with a napkin for his cookie. And then a little pocket here. And this is an elf having this very yummy big breakfast. Then we have a lace paper here. And another page from the Junk Journal Studio. really fun, like ticking style background. And another of my hand-dyed papers with a fun fabric Christmas tab. And then we get back into Santa's inventions. So this is some really fun paper, and the pocket has this illustrated typewriter, and it says, "Dear Jenny, the thought writer. When Santa puts on the headphones of his thought writer, he just thinks the letters he wants to write, and they come out lickety-split. The buttons are to translate the letters into different languages." And then this is more of Santa's inventions. It's the Skeeter. Santa adapted some of Da Vinci's ideas on flight to invent the Skeeter. It's not as fast as a jet, but then Santa doesn't want to become independent on foreign oil. The Skeeter is most often used to herd reindeer. Annual Skeeter races are held every September at the North Pole. And then on the back we have some of Santa's inventions. I just got to snip a tiny little bit of paper. There we go. The abacus, the ballpoint pen, braces, the gyro compass, cellophane, the screw, the shower, the yawn, the gate, Morse code, the wheelbarrow, chicken teeth, the pocket knife, first aid, second aid, and nostrils. So lots of fun. And there's more that they talk about with the Skeeter, the invention of the Skeeter. And over here we have elves on this pocket, on this fun old Christmas bulb paper. Peachy keen. Exact meaning is unknown, as is etymology. Yet elves use the expression whenever they see something they like. And this is a whole journal card with an elf here on modern Elvish. And it talks about like a few English words and their Elvish equivalents, and then how elves count from 1 to 20. So it's a lot of fun. Elf lore. Some avocado dyed paper with a little tab here. Little banner style tab. This is a page from the Junk Journal Studio. And then this little Hey Santa card that has a little tuck spot again of the elves at their feast. Now they finished their feast. And this is a journal card from the Junk Journal Studio. More of my hand-dyed paper with this little white poinsettia tab. This is from the Graphics Fairy, this page, with these pockets. And this is from the Junk Journal Studio. Hey kids, Santa is here. Have you been naughty or nice? And that pops in the pocket. This is from Junk Journal Studio, and it's so pretty. I love it as the center page. I love when nature comes into anything. It's just so good. And then this is, again, Graphics Fairy with a little Santa in this tuck. More of my dyed paper. Another Junk Journal Studio, little adorable snowman. We had to have a snowman in this Christmas book. And the elf here just finishing up his porridge. Happy holidays. This is from the Junk Journal Studio as well. More avocado paper and those fun Christmas papers. I left a few of these alone without any pockets because I thought, like, if you wanted to use this as a Christmas memory book or Christmas list book or whatever, you might want some pages like this to just kind of glue things down to. And then one of my dyed papers with a bit of scraps. I put a fun bit of scraps in here. I'm not sure if you've noticed on the tabs. Just little scrappy bits. More Junk Journal Studio with this super cute Santa. Lace paper and a pocket with the elf and the reindeer. They're waiting up on the roof for Santa here. They've got a stopwatch. So that's another part of the legend, is like Santa is on a limited time at each house because he's got to finish Christmas. Spotting a fake Santa. Even though fake Santas are wonderful men, it's good to know the real one from a fake. Fake Santas will have one or all of the signs shown it right. And this is how right. Just one sign is enough to tell you if it's the real Santa or not, but be polite, even if you know it's a faker. He is one of Santa's official helpers. And I love this black page that's part of this Christmas collection from 49 and Market because it speaks to like coal. And also I just think it goes with the buckle and the boots nicely. So these are the 10 danger signals of a fake Santa. Says ho 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 too frequently or in a high whiny voice. Wears a cheap red suit instead of a heavy one woven out of wool or elf hair. Wears a black vinyl belt instead of leather. Has on white gloves over skinny fingers. You get it, right? There's some differences to look out for. And then over here we have this little pocket here on this fun Christmas decoration paper. And here's Santa. His first priority of the day is to get the list from Robert, the telephone mouse. He reviews the list while he eats his breakfast. Robert has arranged the list by country and city. Santa memorizes the main points, but he'll take the list with him to help with the details. And they're just having their breakfast. And then over here we have Santa in the off season in his garden with his elf here, and they're just looking at a little grasshopper and picking some carrots. This is some local hand-dyed paper that was in these really red, beautiful, bit of green. It was a perfect paper for this, from the papertrail.ca. And this is another page from the Junk Journal studio. So beautiful. And then we have the kids here all around Santa. And then this journal card is about Santa's special vest. So there's a whole legend to Santa's vest. It's I'll let it to you if you pick up this book to read it. But basically, they were able to take a sample from his vest, one of the fibers, and a test revealed that it was made of rare Afghan Zabinsky fish fur. So yeah, there's a whole story about it. It's very funny. And more of my dyed paper with a little green and gold tab. And this is actually ledger that I dyed with red lines. And then this is about the elves and their incredible strength. So an ant is incredibly strong for its size, but the elf is even stronger. And then this is a typical elf load. Different things they can carry, how much, right? We have the elves here. 50 kilograms of masks and hats. 125 kilograms of farm sets, 50 kilograms of dolls, and so on. And then we have a fabric pocket over here, and this is Santa hosting and his elf hosting this really fun, North Pole party with the penguins and their little bow ties. And parchment with a little gold dotted tab. This is another page from the Junk Journal studio with Santa here. A Merry Christmas. And we have the elves down here kind of having a food fight now. And this is a little Merry Christmas card from the Junk Journal studio. And another tab. And here's a gramophone with an elf all carved out of wood. This is another Santa invention. And we have this little map here of Santa's trip getting started from the North Pole. That's a journal card. And then a little fun tab up here with vintage sellotape and some paper on a Junk Journal studio page. This is from the graphics fair, I believe, this tree page. And here we have, this was a page that I made during Junk Journal Round Robin. So it's got a couple of tuck spots, a few tuck spots. It's like a multi-pocket. So this little house, we have this little Christmas tag in here. And in this little post box, a tiny little letter. That is just an interactive fun bit. You could take it out and glue it if you wanted. And then another little tag for writing on here in this pocket. And then this whole envelope is a pocket for this tag that has this window, which you will learn more about on the last day of Junk Journal Round Robin. It's only one of my projects, so it's still worth watching the video. I had to put it in here, though. It was too perfect. And we have this little tuck spot of the Santas with their porridge, or the elves, rather. And then a little Tim Holtz pine cone, Scotch pine journal card. I wanted to throw a little nature in there because it's me. And then another page from the Junk Journal studio, this cute snowman and Santa. More parchment and another fabric pocket. This is more summer vacation Santa, so he's floating here in the water, and we've got the reindeer and the elves, and that just pops in there. And another space, obviously, to kind of glue things down on, and then more of the dyed ledger, a Junk Journal studio page. Another handmade paper page, and the last page is this lovely paper with a little tab here, and again a space for you to just kind of put some final, Christmas thoughts in. And then at the end is just my seal and signature, and we've added a little elf there. So this was the Elf's Guide to the Magic of Santa, and I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. It was a really fun theme to work, a Christmas theme that I really enjoyed making. It's got that magic to it. It's got that, elvish, naturey kind of fun storytelling, like all the elements that just make me excited to make books. So thanks for joining me, and you'll see this book in my shop very soon. If you're seeing this, it's already there if it wasn't scooped up on Patreon. So have a great day. Bye for now.